Welcome to Sports Plus Passion. I'm your host, Bronna Marks. Topic number 1, the Giants and Eli Manning. Poor Eli, my man Eli, over here crying because he just got benched. He has every right to be upset. This man has played for the Giants for 14 years and was just benched. No warning, and not even for a good quarterback. For Geno Smith, somebody who's mediocre, somebody who has caused more problems for other teams than Eli has caused problems for his Giants. I mean, Eli has had issues, of course, somewhat inconsistent, a little bit weak in the pocket, but they're not helping Eli. The general manager for the Giants has already been criticized for not focusing more on the offensive line than he focuses on the deep field, on running back, on wide receivers. He's focusing on those people, expecting for Eli to have more options to throw or give the ball than he is for Eli to just be able to stand in the pocket and think about what he's doing first. Eli has not been the enemy here for the Giants. He brought 2 Super Bowl championships to the Giants and was MVP of both games. You know why? Because he's Eli Manning, and he's good when you give him the opportunity to be great. Come on. If he doesn't have a few seconds to sit in a pocket and think, who is he really going to throw to? It doesn't matter if you have Odell Beckham or Brandon Marshall deep in the field. If you can't see them, if you get sacked. Eli has been sacked 26 times. 26 times this season. They're 2-9. Last season, he was sacked 5 less, and the Giants were 11-5. They were still contenders for a playoff berth. Now, forget about it. What makes things worse is that Eli actually pushed for this head coach, Ben McAdoo, who has been putting the blame on Eli since the second week of the season. He blamed Eli for a delay of game for his call. Not Eli's call, Ben McAdoo's call. Because who is the quarterback looking to for their calls? Their head coach. And then a few weeks later, Ben McAdoo decided to give his play calling responsibilities to a different person on staff, and that's when they won that Broncos game. Still amazing to me, but it didn't last because they're still sitting 2-9. So they still have a lot of issues. And not only that, they lost basically their whole team. Everybody is injured or out for the season. Odell, Marshall, Janoris Jenkins just got put on IR. Their team is just crumbling, just falling apart. Now there is talk that, the Eli Manning era is over in New York. He's 36 years old. It's time for him to move on. Whatever. But I really believe that Eli has a few seasons left in him if the Giants can just pull their program together. Find a better system to lead the team. The Giants can be a great team. They have so much talent. I wish the best for Eli. And without a true leader, without this petty benching thing, this is the most embarrassing thing this season, maybe in a few years, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. It's extremely embarrassing. And I feel really bad for my New York Giants. Topic number 2, college football drama. No, for real, it's really bad. Between hiring new head coaches, you can't keep up. Between all of the controversy and the money loss, this past weekend, numerous schools either fired their head coach or just hired a new one. Arizona, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, and Ole Miss. Most controversial out of these schools, and these schools, they've been in limbo for a little bit. They keep starting over. Tennessee, oh my gosh, their fans, a little extreme. Students, a little bit extreme. Tennessee made a move to hire a head coach who had been in Penn State during the Sandusky scandal. Greg Schiano was accused of knowing what was happening. It was just accusations. He denied those accusations and he said he had no idea. Who knows? I'm not sure if that accusation gives students and fans the right to just push him out of an opportunity when he has done other things in his career. He worked at Rutgers for almost 10 years, and he brought that football team out of the ground, basically, and brought them to winning seasons. He had the opportunity to move up to the NFL. Didn't do too well there, but he moved back to college football, and he was working with Ohio State. Look at Ohio State. They're doing great. So he has experience with winning teams, despite this one stain on his resume. Tennessee, They may not be totally in the ground, but they sure do need some help. And it's really disheartening to see that college students took the time to basically disface their campus to prove that they shouldn't hire Greg Schiano. Tennessee, what were they going to do in the middle of that controversy? Let their fans and their students be pissed off at them? No. So they decided to ex-nay that contract, and now they're going to be looking for a coach even longer. But the buyouts estimated for these few coaches who were fired or let go, $60 million. That means most of these coaches had a lot of time left or a lot of money left under their contract, and the colleges had to pay them off. And this also all happened after the NCAA approved an early signing period. So what did colleges do? They grabbed their recruits. They held on to them tight. They were like, yeah, you can come here. It's great. You know, we already got you down pat. Oh, by the way, we're firing the head coach. And we're firing staff too that probably recruited you and probably were the reason why you're coming here. But oh well, what? Just because they had an early signing period doesn't mean the recruits are just gonna just be like, oh sure, fine, like I'll go with it. No. There are already recruits that are decommitting because of all this mess that is happening. College football, not making very smart decisions right now, and it looks like a complete and utter mess. They really need to figure out a better system to how they're going to reboot these teams, because just firing people in the middle of games, before games, after games, that's not okay. That's another thing the NCAA needs to work on, how they're going to regulate hiring and firing people and not making it look like such a mess. A little happier drama, more exciting, college football playoffs. We are a few weeks away from the college football playoffs. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I can't wait to see who actually makes it, because this week's rankings and the first week's rankings, totally different. And usually that's how it works. Like, you get a surprise here and there, but there was so many upsets last week within the top 10. This week, an upset is likely as well. These rankings right now, probably going to change. The rankings right now sit 1 Clemson, 2 Auburn, 3 Oklahoma, 4 Wisconsin, your teams right outside of that bubble, 5 Alabama, 6 Georgia, 7 Miami, and then you have 8 Ohio State. The first week you had Georgia sitting at the top. Alabama is number 2, which people were like so ticked off about. Then they ended up losing to Auburn, but I'll get there. Third, you had Notre Dame, not even considered now. 4 Clemson, 5 Oklahoma, and 6 Ohio State. So what is it looking like right now? Miami, they really messed up because they were sitting number 2 last week, and they took a loss to Pittsburgh, and they were about to break all kinds of barriers, but they have a chance, a small chance, if they beat Clemson in the ACC championship. Clemson is already sitting number 1, and I think they're going to try really hard to stay in that spot. And they have been to the college football playoffs, the college football championships 2 years in a row, and they still haven't won. So they definitely have something to fight for. Then you have a team like Auburn. This is a 2-loss team, and it would be the first 2-loss team to possibly make it to a college football playoffs. Resume jumped them because they massacred Alabama, who was unbeaten, and they embarrassed them. It wasn't just a slight win. It was like, we're gonna make you look like a fool win. And Auburn is definitely the arch enemy of Nick Saban, because anytime Alabama is undefeated, Auburn just comes and just ruins their entire season during their Iron Bowl. So that rivalry, that's a serious rivalry. Auburn still has to play Georgia, even though they already played them. They have to play them for their championship. So they have a good chance at winning and keeping their spot. But college football, anything can happen. Literally, anything. Wisconsin as well. Not too talked about. Kind of that team that's kind of like, oh, they're good for their division, but are they really good against really big teams like Clemson and Auburn? Because they don't play teams like that. They have to play Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. Those teams are pretty closely ranked, but like I said, anything can happen. Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield has led Oklahoma pretty strongly to where they are right now. And he's a Heisman contender. I mean, this man is throwing for 360 yards per game. He's getting his job done and he's doing what he has to do. Oklahoma does have the Big 12 championship left against TCU. Definitely has an upset possibility. They're sitting number 10 right now. Topic number 3, too much testosterone. NBA, NFL, college basketball. Every time you turn around, it seems to be some type of brawl or some type of fight or some type of issue. Going back, Baker Mayfield had the audacity to give an obscene gesture in a game versus West Virginia. Now, the West Virginia captains decided not to shake Baker Mayfield's hand, and Baker Mayfield is already known to be extremely petty. His personality, not very likable on the field. Should he be able to really provoke such unprofessionalism on the field? No, I don't think that constitutes a good leader. And same thing goes for all these other players who think it's okay to throw obscene gestures or be suspended for like half a game. I mean, are you really punishing them? Are you really teaching them anything? Or are you just trying to go about life and just win because they're your best player? And it's usually the best player who has the nerve to do it because they think they can get away with it. They're not teaching these athletes real world strategies. LeBron James just got ejected for his first game in his 15-year career because he decided to talk smack to a ref. He always talks smack to a ref. This time, after 15 years, didn't work out too well for him. Should he have gotten into this regular ideal that he could just talk to refs however he wants to anytime he gets fouled and he feels upset? No. Was the ref a little harsh ejecting him? Maybe. But it plays on both sides. Then you have the NFL, full-on brawl between the Raiders and the Broncos with teammates who had already previously gotten into it this season before and still didn't learn from their actions. Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree decided that they wanted to push each other on the sideline, probably talk a little smack, and then they got really mad and Crabtree decided to throw a punch. And he did the same thing last season. Now, they were supposed to be suspended for 2 games. Now they're only suspended for 1. What does that teach them? I believe that the way players in general are reprimanded, especially men, because you don't see brawls happening at the WNBA or the Women's Soccer League. Testosterone levels across the board, too much. It needs to be clapped down, brought down a little bit. Everybody just needs to chill out. Yes, I understand you get passionate, you get excited during the game, you want to be physical. You have all these kids watching you, people who look up to you. They don't want to see you fighting on the sideline or doing something stupid or making a nasty gesture. Get it together, people. Thank you guys for joining me for episode 6 of Sports Plus Passion. I hope to catch you next week, and I hope everybody has a happy holiday. Deuces.